Hey guys, it's November the 10th, 2025, and I hope everybody's been having a wonderful day so far today. I hope everybody had a wonderful weekend this past weekend, and I hope everybody was able to stay safe and stay sober as well. I'm sorry I wasn't here again yesterday, guys. I know I've been missing so many videos here lately, but, you know, I've just had so much stuff come up. My back's been bothering me so bad over the past few weeks, and it's gotten worse. I'm going to have to go to the doctor this week and see what's going on. I'm going to go ahead and make an appointment this afternoon, I guess, and see if I can't get in somewhere because it's gotten down to my left hip, and I just don't know what's going on with it. But this past weekend, you know, I had spoken with my son the last camping trip that we went on. We were talking about going on one this past weekend that that was just over, and we talked about it. And you know, the thing is that I kind of made a promise to my son. And my wife told me yesterday, she's like, you know, you might want to start like waiting until you get closer to the weekend to see how you're doing, and then tell, you know, the kids, let's do something. Because like I said, I told my son like 3 weeks ago that we would do this, and then my back got worse and worse, and I kept trying to talk to him this past week, and I was, you know, just telling him, you know, Dad's back's bothering him really bad. I don't know if we're going to be able to go. And I could just see the disappointment in his eyes. You know, every time I tried to talk to him, I tried to have a conversation with him on Thursday night because we left on Friday. I went and picked him up from school on Friday afternoon, and we headed straight out from there. But I tried talking to him on Thursday night, and he just looked so disappointed. And I said, you know what? I have broken so many promises with my kids over the years. I just can't do it. So I said, you know what? I'm just going to bite it, and I'm going to go, and I'm going to have to suffer through it no matter what. It doesn't matter. Luckily, I had a battery bank and a heating pad because there's no power where we went to. We went to this national park or state park called Lick Fork. I think it's Lick Fork National Park. This is Sumter National Forest here in South Carolina. Very isolated campground, no electricity, no running water, basically just porta potties to use the restroom in, and that's it. It's just basically, you're just in the woods by yourself. And of course, you know, with the government shut down, there weren't any park rangers out there. I mean, there was nothing going on. There were just a couple of people out there camping, and that was it. And I'm gonna get into what happened this past weekend here in just a minute, because it has to do with alcohol. It really reminded me of myself when I was in active addiction, but I'm gonna dive into that here in just a second. But like I said, you know, we had made plans about 3 weeks ago to go on this camping trip, and I just couldn't back out. So Friday, I went ahead and filmed the video for Friday, and I filmed the video for Saturday. Went ahead and uploaded them, had them scheduled to post and everything, because I knew that where we were going, that we might not have internet service or a phone signal, which we didn't have either of the two. So those videos posted up on their own, and we headed out. And we got out there. There was no phone service, no internet. I couldn't communicate with anybody. It was a big mess. And then Saturday night, we were out there camping, and I happened to look up. I heard a loud boom, and I looked up in the sky, and I saw this big thunderstorm coming towards us, and my son said, "Hey, Dad, I just got a notification on my phone." Like, we were getting spotty service. Every once in a while, like an email would come through or a notification would come through, but you couldn't just get online. It would just like happen out of nowhere. And my son goes, "Dad, I just got a notification. There's a severe thunderstorm warning." I'm like, "Great." So I told my son, I was like, "Hey, what do you think about going ahead and getting out of here and going home so that we don't get caught in this storm?" We were underneath these humongous trees, and my son said, "Dad, I really want to stay. I don't want to go home." And you know, once again, you know, I'd broken so many promises in the past with my kids when I was in active addiction, because I would be so hungover all the time, that now I just feel this obligation. And no matter what, I was like, "Okay, if that's what you want to do, we'll stay." So we stayed there that night. Of course, the thunderstorm came through, and it was bad. Everything got soaked in the tent. But in the middle of the night that night, which is what I wanted to talk about, and I've got more to talk about this camping trip because I encountered a couple of things, and I'll talk about some more of this in tomorrow's video because there was another story that had to do with alcohol. Like I said, this was just people out here camping. There's no rangers, so people are just doing whatever they want to do, and people were out there drinking. They were partying out there, having a really good time, as a matter of fact. So the Saturday night, the night before we left, when we had that really bad storm, I didn't sleep very well. Number one, because my back was bothering me so bad. I had my battery bank with me, but I'd already used it Friday night, and then Saturday night, it went out on me. The battery just completely went kaput, and my heating pad wasn't working. So I was laying there, my back was hurting me really bad. The air mattress that I was sleeping on had deflated, and I didn't have any way to really blow it up unless I got up and like blew on it to blow it up. And I just didn't want to deal with that because everything was soaking wet in the tent. So I just laid there, tried to keep from touching the edge of the tent because that condensation would get all over everything. And while I was laying there, just, awake in the middle of the night, I kept hearing something from one of the campsites a ways down, and I couldn't figure out what it was at first. And I laid there and I just kept listening, and then I heard it again. And I still couldn't really make out exactly what it was, but then I heard it again. And when I heard it that time, I knew exactly what that sound was. These people that were camping about 2 campsites away from us, I think they're actually living out there right now, which was kind of weird, but because they've got this humongous setup going on out there. They've just all kinds of stuff laid out. You could tell they've been there for quite a while, and they were partying on Saturday night. Well, in the middle of the night, I start hearing the sound of somebody throwing up. And it was that exactly what it was like when I was in active addiction, where I would start to dry heave and had these like really horrendous dry heaves, and then would throw up. And I kept hearing that noise, and the guy kept doing it over and over and over again. And as I laid there and listened to that, I thought to myself, that's exactly how I used to be whenever we would go camping. I would wake up in the middle of the night because I would sit around the campfire all night long, getting smashed drunk. And then I'd wake up in the middle of the night and have to jump out. I used to camp in a hammock a lot too, or I'd just sleep beside the campfire because of this reason. I'd wake up in the middle of the night and have to throw up. And I would be out there throwing up, all night long. And I knew that I was waking people up. I knew that I had to be, because I was out there making so much racket throwing up in the campground. And just like that night, I could hear that guy out there just hacking away, throwing up. He kept throwing up. And I don't mean like he threw up 3 times. This guy threw up throughout the night, probably 20 times. And then I kept hearing him because we were right up next to the like porta potty. I heard his flip-flops come running down to the porta potty. This is 3 o'clock in the morning. This guy's running to the bathroom, which would be something that I used to do because I would drink to the point my stomach was always wrecked. I was throwing up and I always had diarrhea, and I'd have to run to the bathroom in the middle of the night and have these humongous blowouts. I know it's disgusting, but that's just the nature of alcoholism. It's what happens. Our stomachs are always messed up from the alcohol, and that's what was going on with that guy that night. He's out there throwing up, running to the bathroom, going back to his tent. 30 minutes later, you hear the flip-flops come running back. And I mean running. I don't mean walking. I mean running to the bathroom in the middle of the night because his stomach was so messed up. And as I laid there, I just thought to myself, this is exactly what I used to be like every single time I used to go camping with my kids. Because we used to camp a lot on our property as well. I'd just take my kids out in the woods. And we lived here when I was in active addiction. I'd take my kids out in the woods. We'd set up a tent, hang around all night long. I'd take my alcohol out there with me and just sit out there and get smashed. And in the middle of the night, I'd wake up and start throwing up. And I'd wonder, do my kids hear me? So the next morning, I'm getting to the point of this. Yesterday morning, I get up, first thing like 6 a.m. because I just could not sleep. My back was hurting me so bad. I finally, like 6 a.m., was like, I just can't take it anymore. I've got to get up. My back is hurting me too bad. So I jumped up out of the tent and just got out and started cleaning stuff up. I went ahead and boiled some water, made myself some coffee, got the fire back going again because it was a little chilly, and just kind of walked around, was doing some stuff, picking things up, just cleaning little things up here and there because I knew we were going to be going home in a little bit. I was letting my son sleep, and then I finally went in there and just told him, okay, it's time to go ahead and get up. We've got to clean this stuff up so we can get on the road. I'm ready to go home. And he was like, okay. So we cleaned up all the stuff, and as we were cleaning everything up, I asked him, I said, did you hear that guy last night? And he said, what are you talking about? I said, the guy, he was throwing up all night long. You could hear him. I said, I could hear him running back and forth to the bathroom all night long. And my son said, yeah, Dad, I could hear him. I said, do you remember when I used to drink alcohol? He said, yeah. I said, do you remember when we used to go camping and I used to wake up in the middle of the night and throw up all the time? And he said, yeah, I remember that. I said, so you could hear that when you were younger? And he said, yeah, we could hear you. You would wake us up in the middle of the night. And I said, I think that's what that guy was doing. They were up there drinking and partying because we walked past. We could see him out there drinking. And I told my son, I said, obviously they were drinking and he must have gotten sick from it. I said, I'm so glad I don't drink anymore. I don't wake up in the middle of the night and have to throw up anymore. I don't wake up in the middle of the night and have to run to the bathroom anymore. It just doesn't happen like that. And, I'm just so blessed to not have to deal with that anymore because that life is just absolutely horrendous. It is. And it really reminded me of what it used to be like when I was in active addiction. And if you're watching this right now and you're still in active addiction and you don't see any way out of it, first and foremost, let me say this. I'm not a doctor. I'm not affiliated with any healthcare professionals or anything like that. I'm just a guy who has AUD. I have a problem with alcohol. I've had it my whole entire life. And I almost lost my life because of it. Now I'm dealing with the consequences. I have cirrhosis and all kinds of health problems because of my consumption. I just talk about this on here and try to help people. But don't take what I say as medical advice because it's not. I'm just talking about my experiences. But once again, if you're watching this right now and you're in active addiction and you don't think that there's any way out of the life that you're living, there is a way out. I didn't think it would ever be possible. I just did not think it would ever be possible. I thought I was going to be stuck living that life forever. But I finally was able to break free. And, the thing is that the reason that it happened is because I ended up in the hospital. I was throwing up blood and ended up in the hospital and got placed on a medical detox. But that medical detox saved my life. Getting sick saved my life. Yeah. Like I said, I have a lot of medical problems or health problems. I've had to have a lot of surgeries. I'm constantly going to the doctor. I have to take a ton of medications, but I'm still here. And I still get the chance to make memories with my children. I'm just so blessed. And if I hadn't stopped drinking, there's no way that I would still be sitting here right now speaking with you guys. I just never thought that I would be able to get sober, and I did. It was because I went through that medical detox, and it's different for everybody. It really is. What could be my rock bottom might not be your rock bottom. And in that moment when I was laying there in the emergency room and the doctor walked in and said, you have a lot of stuff going on with you right now, sir. He said, and we're going to do the best that we can to save your life, but I can't promise you anything. You might pass away. And when I laid there and when he was telling me that, I had this feeling of like complete and utter peace that just came over me. And in that moment, even though I had that feeling of peace, it was like that was my rock bottom. I knew right then, I accepted the fact that this could potentially be it, and it probably was going to be. And that I put myself here. No one else put me there but me. Because I wouldn't seek help. I never asked for help. I always thought that I could do it on my own. It was always, I can fix this. But the problem is that I couldn't. I just didn't have what it took to do it myself. I couldn't do it. I needed help. And that medical detox helped me out in ways that I can't explain. And when I got out of the hospital after all that and going through that rock bottom, my rock bottom, I said, that's it. I'm not going back. And I've just make the choice every single day to not drink today. That's it. That's the only thing I do is when I wake up in the morning, I say, I'm not going to drink today. I hope that I don't drink today. I don't plan to drink today, and I'm not going to drink today. And I go throughout my day. It's one day at a time. I'm not looking at this going, I hope 10 years from now I'm sober. I don't even know if I'll even be here. Like I said, my point of this is that I really was reminded of that life this past weekend when we were at that campground, and I listened to that guy throw up all night long, because that used to be me. I threw up all the time. I threw up every single day, guys. The first thing I did when I woke up in the morning, before I even went pee, was just go throw up. Or maybe I went pee, but it was either pee or throw up. One of the two was the first thing I did every single morning. I threw up every single day. And I kept doing that to myself. It's just absolutely insane. I mean, it really is the definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over and over again and expecting different results. It's just not going to happen. I tried so many times to get sober, and every single time I'd get a weekend and go, oh, I've got it now. I've got this thing licked. You know, I was able to stay sober for 7 whole days. Now I can just drink on the weekend. 2 days into it, I was right back at half a gallon of vodka every single day, plus more. Guys, it is possible to get sober. Please speak with the doctor first and let them decide where you need to go from here, because quitting alcohol or benzodiazepines abruptly can be life-threatening. But if you speak with the doctor and you do this a safe way, and you stay determined and you look at it one day at a time, you don't look too far into the future, don't start thinking about that big business meeting that you have 3 months from now, or, you know, whatever, your vacation on that cruise that you're going on next summer that you've already paid for, and how are you going to be able to stay sober for it? Just, you'll cross that bridge when you get there. But today or tomorrow or next week, whenever the doctor says it's A-okay for you to go ahead and stop, go for it. Stop. One day at a time. It's not going to be easy. It's going to be really, really hard. And for those of you that are out there right now that are on your day 3 or day 4 or day 10 or whatever it is, and you're thinking about the booze, and you know that whatever feeling that you're going through right now, whether it be depression or anxiety or just that feeling like you just don't feel complete, like there's just something missing, and you know it's the alcohol. You know that feeling of there's just a part of you that's missing. It's your best friend is no longer around. You know, that can be a really hard pill to swallow because you feel so lost without it. Just keep going. Keep pushing forward. You get used to it. Your body's scrambling right now. It doesn't know what to do. It's been so used to having this alcohol poured into it every single day, or how whatever amount that you were drinking. You know, your body got used to that, and then when you remove it, it's like, what's going on? It wants that chemical. It needs it. Our bodies become adapted to it. Of course, it's going to be difficult. Of course, you're going to think about it. That's all natural. Just look at it one day at a time and just keep pushing forward. Stay strong. If you fall down, don't look at it as a failure. Look at it as a victory that you made it however far that you did. If you made it 2 days sober, that's great. You did it. 2 whole days. That's 2 whole days that you didn't damage your body, that you weren't drunk and said something wrong to one of your family members and destroyed one of your relationships potentially. Wherever you're at in your sobriety, just keep going, guys. I know it's hard, and I know that alcohol or that substance, whatever it is so appealing because you feel bored, you feel lost, you just don't feel complete. You know that something's missing in your life. You're not having conversations with people like you used to anymore. You feel like you've become a recluse. All these things are normal. It happens. Over time, you'll get used to talking to people, being sober again. And yeah, maybe your personality is going to be a little bit different. That's okay. I myself was a completely different person when I drank. And the sober me is a totally different guy. And it's taken a long time for me to get used to this new person. I'm still getting used to him every single day. My family are still getting used to him every single day. It takes time. Everything takes time. And it takes practice. And just, like I said, if you fall down, pick yourself back up and just try again. Don't look at it as a failure. And don't just throw it all away and say, that's it, I fell down, I relapsed, there goes those 30 days, it's all over. No, it's not. Those days are still there. You still worked so hard to get to where you were. And like I said, that's 30 days you didn't damage your body. Just keep pushing forward, pick yourself back up, and just try again. You're not a failure until you stop trying. I stopped trying eventually. I just gave up. And I just said, you know what, I'm just going to let this happen how it happens. And I just kept drinking. It was exactly like leaving Las Vegas. I gave up on life. All I cared about was the alcohol. And here I am. My life is completely different now. And I never thought this would be possible. It's possible, guys. Stay strong out there today. We do not want to go back to that life. Like I said, listening to that guy that night reminded me so much of myself. That used to happen every time I went on a camping trip, but not this time. My son didn't have to wake up in the middle of the night listening to his dad throw up all night long because he drank a half a gallon of vodka the day before with nothing in his stomach. Guys, thank you so much for watching today. I really do appreciate it. Once again, sorry I wasn't here yesterday. I just was so tired. My back was hurting so bad. I had so much stuff to clean up. I'm still trying to get that stuff done right now. And it's pretty chilly out here. But anyway, I figured I'd throw a couple of the videos from this weekend. I got some pretty neat little clips. If you feel like watching, it's going to be right after this. If you don't feel like watching, go ahead and just turn it right off. It's either way is fine with me. I don't care. Just I figured I'd throw this stuff in at the end of the video for you guys to check out if you wanted to see. I got this really cool video of this really colorful spider. There's just some really neat stuff. The woods were changing colors while we were out there, so all the trees were super pretty and red and orange and yellow and stuff like that. It was just a really neat trip. So anyway, I'm gonna throw those clips in here at the end. Like I said, I'm gonna talk about this a little bit more in tomorrow's video as well, because that wasn't all that happened this past weekend, but I just wanted to give you guys that story for today and just say thank you so much for being here. I really do appreciate it. And I think that's it for today. Until tomorrow, I will see you guys then. I hope y'all have a wonderful rest of your day. I love you guys so much. Bye-bye. We're camped on the other side of the lake over there. You see that dock over there? We're camped over there behind that.